Night fell upon the abandoned Veterkov estate, enveloping it in an eerie silence broken only by the howling of the wind through the shattered window frames. Locals avoided this place, whispering chilling tales of the missing and strange sounds emanating from within. A group of daring bloggers, hungry for thrills and subscribers, decides to break into the estate to film a night report. Equipped with cameras and sensors, they enter, unaware that the ancient walls hold something far more sinister than just dust and cobwebs. With each step inside, the atmosphere becomes increasingly oppressive. Shadows seem alive, whispers echo from empty rooms, and old portraits appear to follow them with their faded eyes. Suddenly, the lights go out, and a blood-curdling child's cry echoes through the corridors. One by one, the group members begin to encounter strange and frightening phenomena. Invisible hands touch them, alien reflections flicker in the mirrors, and footsteps sound where no one is. Panic rises, and the bloggers realize they are not alone in this cursed place. Will they be able to unravel the mystery of the Veterkov estate and get out alive? Or will they become the next ghosts to add to its grim history? The light from the flashlights trembled, snatching peeling walls and cobweb-draped furniture from the darkness. Anna, the leader of the group, tried to remain calm, although her own heart was pounding in her chest like a trapped bird. "Okay, everyone, calm down. It's just an old house." She tried to reassure the others, but her voice sounded uncertain even to herself. Suddenly, a door at the end of the corridor slammed shut with a dull thud. Everyone turned. The door was old and heavy, and a draft could hardly have closed it. "There was no one there," whispered Max, the cameraman, clutching his camera tighter. Luba, who was in charge of the sound equipment, paled. I heard a whisper behind that door." They slowly moved towards the closed door. Anna cautiously pulled the rusty handle. The door yielded with a drawn-out creak, revealing the entrance to a dark room. The air was thick with the musty smell of dust and something else, Swedish and unsettling. Max directed the beam of his flashlight inside. The room turned out to be an old nursery. A broken wooden rocking horse lay in the corner. A porcelain doll with a missing arm sat on a dusty table, and faded drawings were visible on the walls. And again, the crying started. This time it was closer, as if coming directly from the room. "Did you hear that?" Luba whispered, her eyes wide with terror. Suddenly, the doll on the table turned its head. Its glass eyes stared directly at them. A scream of horror escaped Vika, the youngest member of the group. "Let's get out of here," Dan shouted, backing away. But the door slammed shut, cutting off their retreat. They were trapped in the dark nursery, alone with something sinister. Max's flashlight beam trembled, illuminating a chandelier swaying in the breeze. Suddenly, a piece of plaster fell from the ceiling, narrowly missing Anna. "Something's here," she croaked, looking around. They began to examine the room, trying to find another way out. Luba noticed an old diary lying on the floor near the bed. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. "Look," she whispered, opening the yellowed pages. The entries in the diary were in a child's handwriting. They told the story of a girl named Emily who lived in this house many years ago. With each page, the story grew darker. Emily wrote about strange voices, about shadows that watched her, and about an invisible friend who was becoming increasingly demanding. On the last page, there was only one sentence, written in a shaky hand. "He wants to take me." Suddenly, the closet door in the corner of the room slowly opened. A gust of cold air wafted from the darkness. "Who's there?" Dan asked in a trembling voice, pointing his flashlight at the closet. In response, a quiet, hissing laugh came from the darkness. Anna's heart froze with terror. They had awakened something that had been sleeping here for many years, and this something was not going to let them go. The hissing laugh grew louder, as if approaching. A pale, slender hand emerged from the darkness of the closet. Its fingers were unnaturally long and crooked. Vika screamed and recoiled, bumping into Dan. Max pointed the camera light at the closet, but the darkness inside seemed impenetrable. "What is that?" he muttered, his voice trembling. Luba frantically flipped through the diary, trying to find some explanation for what was happening. Her gaze caught on one of the entries. He comes at night when everyone is asleep. He wants to play. Suddenly, the wooden rocking horse in the corner of the room began to rock on its own. Its glass eyes seemed to stare at them with a silent reproach. "We need to get out of here," Anna said firmly, although everything inside her was ice cold with fear. They tried to open the door leading to the corridor, but it wouldn't budge. It was as if someone was holding it from the other side. "It's locked," Dan exclaimed in panic, yanking the handle. A quiet child's voice came from the closet. "Did you come to play?" A coldness permeated the room, chilling them to the bone. Their breath caught in their throats. They felt someone's unseen presence nearby. The doll on the table turned its head again. A thin crack appeared on its porcelain face, resembling a sinister smile. Max, despite his fear, continued to film. He knew this might be their only chance to show the world what had happened here. "We don't want to play," Anna tried to reply, her voice Suddenly, a gust of icy wind burst from the darkness of the closet, knocking Luba off her feet. The diary fell from her hands and opened to a page with a drawing of a strange, tall figure without a face. "Look," Luba croaked, pointing at the drawing with a trembling hand. At the same moment, the shadow of that very figure slid across the wall of the room. It was tall and unnaturally thin, without any discernible facial features. Horror paralyzed them. They understood that they had encountered something inhuman. Dan tried to break the window with a chair, but the glass was surprisingly strong. It was as if an invisible force was holding it. "He doesn't want to let us out," Vika whispered, her eyes filled with tears. The child's voice from the closet laughed again, this time louder and more sinister. "Now we will play forever." The shadow on the wall began to move, slowly approaching them. They felt someone's cold breath on their faces. Anna grabbed the nearest candlestick and threw it towards the closet. The sound of breaking glass echoed, but the darkness inside remained unchanged. "Run!" she screamed, pushing the others towards the door. They tried to open the door again, this time working together, but it remained locked. The shadow figure approached, and they felt an unbearable cold. An invisible hand touched Dan's cheek. He screamed in terror. Max continued to film, his camera shaking. He knew these were the last shots. The child's laughter filled the room, growing louder and more insane. Their screams mingled with this sinister laughter, dissolving into the chilling silence of the abandoned Veterkov estate. The door to the nursery slowly opened. There was no one in the corridor. Only a faint moonlight illuminated the dusty floor and the eerie silence. A broken candlestick and an open children's diary lay on the floor. On the last page, the chilling phrase still read, "He wants to take me." And on the screen of Max's camera, the image of the dark corner of the closet was frozen. Moonlight, seeping through the broken windows of the Veterkov estate, painted bizarre shadows on the dusty floor. The silence within the house felt unnatural, as if time itself had frozen in anticipation of something dreadful. Max's camera, dropped in the middle of the room, still faintly glowed with its recording indicator. The last captured frames showed a blurred image of the dark corner of the closet, in which a pale substance flickered for a moment, touching the lens before the recording cut off, plunging everything into final darkness. Several days passed. Concerned about the prolonged absence of their comrades, the remaining members of the blogging community contacted the locals. They, reluctantly crossing themselves, agreed to lead them to the cursed estate. Hesitantly stepping over the threshold of the abandoned house, they felt the oppressive atmosphere, as if an invisible weight pressed down on their shoulders. Chaos reigned everywhere. Scattered equipment, overturned chairs, broken glass, evidence of a sudden and terrifying event. But the bloggers themselves were nowhere to be found. Thorough searches yielded no results. It was as if the group had simply dissolved within the walls of the old house. The police, who arrived at the scene, could only shrug, finding neither bodies nor obvious signs of violence. The case was deemed missing persons under strange circumstances. and the Veterkov estate once again fell into its eerie silence, becoming even more unapproachable in the eyes of the superstitious locals. Only one item caught the investigators' attention: an old children's diary found in the dusty nursery. It lay open on the last page, where a chilling phrase was written in a child's handwriting: "He wants to take me," and beneath it, as if by someone else's hand, was added, "Now they play with us." The handwriting was different, more adult, and somehow belaznany, painful/sickly. Many years have passed since then. The Veterkov estate has become shrouded in new, even darker legends. They say that at night, when the moon illuminates the abandoned rooms, a quiet child's laughter, muffled whispers, and even fragments of someone's terrified screams can be heard from within. The few daredevils who ventured near the house felt a chilling sensation of someone's unseen gaze piercing right through them. It is said that the souls of the missing bloggers remained forever trapped within the walls of this cursed place, becoming unwilling participants in the eternal and terrifying game of the estate's unseen inhabitant. And if you stare at the dark windows of the house for a long time during a full moon, you can sometimes make out pale, distorted faces pressed against the murky glass, silently begging for salvation from their eternal darkness. This story is just one of many that surround the Veterkov estate, and who knows what other secrets its dilapidated walls hide, what unseen entities dwell in its dark rooms, and what games might await those who dare to disturb the eternal peace of this cursed place.